Hey everyone, it's Emily and this is Emmylou Arts, and I'm psyched that you're here because today I'm going to creatively journal and I wanted you to be able to watch. Maybe it'll inspire you to crack open a book, a notebook, whatever, a scrap piece of paper, and get your feelings out. Let them pour out. I actually had several days worth of journaling that I wanted to get done. And so I had created piles, you can sort of see on my desk, of things, for each either day or event or thing that I wanted to journal about. And that made it easy for me in my mind to say, okay, I wanted to do this and this and this. And then I went through my scrapbook paper and my collage material, and I picked out stuff that struck me for those things and then added them to the pile. And then I got out some stamps and my watercolors and had them all handy and my Sprocket. And then it was super easy because then, there was enough in my little piles for each day to kind of get my creative juices flowing. And that's all I needed, So I had some feelings and some memories that I wanted to keep and to remember, and this worked really well. I think I'm going to continue doing it like this in the future because it made it really easy, and I don't have time to journal every day, so this was handy. I love this stencil for dates. It's the Tim Holtz, I think it's a Tim Holtz stencil, and it's got like those kind of, like army looking numbers, like dog tag looking numbers. What do you call those? I don't know. But I like them. I like them for dates and stuff. And then the Stays On ink I really like because it won't smear if you put water over it, like watercolors. So whatever you stamp, if you watercolor over it, it's not going to run all over the place. And I should have thought of that because I did the date with my Flair pen, and those definitely do smear. So lesson learned. You just have to pay attention to what you're doing. So I'm just going ham here. I'm going crazy. I've got stencils. I've got my Stays On ink, and I'm rubbing it on the stencil. And this is not how you want to treat your stencils, probably, or your ink pads, because it kind of shreds the ink pads. But I'm an animal, so that's what I did. And like I said, the Stays On, because I had an idea that I wanted to watercolor on all these pages anyway. So this was some journaling that I'm going to do about, how Michael and Addie, they like to cook together. And then I just wanted to add some more watercolor just to kind of add some interest. And you can see where I'm watercoloring up there, the date is smearing. But everything else I did in like water permanent ink. So for my journaling, I used the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen in black, and I used the S. Is that small? There must be like a small, medium. I know I've got another one, but I don't know. I don't remember what the S stands for. But it is waterproof, so that's handy. And then I added more watercolor, and it looks like it smeared over on that side, but that's actually just the stenciling that I did. And this is a test, this is just a test, is like a journaling card from a piece of scrapbook paper, and I wrote gravy on it because Michael was teaching her how to make gravy. So they were standing at the stove, and he was giving her a lesson in gravy making, and it was so damn cute that I had to take a picture, and then I had to journal about it. So this next page is, it just kind of came together because I was flipping through my phone, and the other day I saw somebody on Facebook post that it was National Love Your Red Hair Day, and my son has red hair. He's got, well, now it's kind of turned into like a strawberry blonde, but when he was born and when he was little, he was like carrot. It was so red, and it was the cutest. He was the cutest little boy. And I mean, just pale as a vampire with this carrot hair and these pink cheeks. I mean, he was a doll. He was a doll. He's still a doll. But so I just wanted to journal about that because I always tell him he's so special because of his hair and how beautiful it is and everything. And so, you know, some people say that red hair, you know, is nerdy, or it's you know, people say they wouldn't want to have red hair or whatever. But he happens to think that he's very special because of his hair. And I love that. And I want him to always love it because it's so much a part of him. It's just an integral part of his personality. Like, he couldn't be who he is without his hair. And then this, all my collage stuff, like those stars, or and the Born This Way, just from different magazines that I flip through and cut out words that I think I might like. That little card is from a Breathe magazine, and the sun is also from a Breathe magazine. And I had no plan in mind, so I just go crazy and cut and paste, and it is what it is. It ends up how it ends up. And that little smile card is also from that same piece of scrapbook paper that the other journaling card is from. I'm trying to look and find it so I could tell you what the brand is. I'm not going to be able to find it. Of course not, when I really need to. It was just a random one page that I had purchased from a scrapbook store because it was kind of boyish and I liked it. What am I doing now? Oh, adding more washi tape to my tip-ins. So I also added a couple of rolls of washi tape to my little piles that I had created. And I'll insert a picture of my desk with these little piles that I'm talking about so you can see the little kind of mountains of, well, they're not mountains. This is little things of, you know, scrapbooking material that I think I might want to use on a page. And I also threw in some washi tape. This image is from a Real Simple magazine, and you've heard me talk, you know, until you want to barf about that. So, it was of this guy, like, opening the window, and there's flowers outside, and I really liked it, and then it kind of went with the sun, and it looks like he's super excited opening the window, and so I just liked that. I liked that, you know, most of the time when Henry wakes up, he's really excited, and he's just raring to go, you know, raring to wake up and be his cool self, so I just like that. And let's see, what else am I going to do? Throw down some more washi tape. That navy in the corner I just kind of brought in to match the sort of navy on that constellation paper, magazine paper. And then this tape I had the idea of using because it's got numbers on it. It's sort of like a number line. And so I wrote November, and then I circled a date on the tape because the date of the Love Your Red Hair Day was November 5th. So I was going to circle the 5 on that piece of tape. And then later realized that I circled the 15th instead of the 5, so I have to put down another piece and actually do the right date. So, but it was fine in the end because I ended up adding some other cool things. So, and then under there, I'm just using my Faber-Castell pen. You know, it's funny how similar this is. It's kind of one of those fine point permanent markers like my Sakura Microperm, but I like my Sakura Microperm so much better. So don't ask me why I didn't use that. Maybe I should have. Permanent on most surfaces. I don't know if this one is waterproof though. So, and I knew my Pit Artist one was, so that's why I used it, I guess. That little image, you probably can't see it, but it's like a mom and a dad, and then this like super happy looking redheaded kid in the back of the car, like grinning. And that is from a magazine that our real estate agent that sold us our house sends us every like fall holiday season. He sends us a Norman Rockwell calendar. And so I always keep it, and I use the images from it for my journaling and stuff because they're fun and vintage. And I just love that because it had the, funny looking red-haired kid. So I have my own funny looking red-haired kid, so it worked perfectly. That H stamp I got on clearance from Stamp or Scrapbook Store, and I have an A one that looks exactly like it. So a lot of times I use those. You'll see that my journaling style is, it's not. It's messy. I don't plan this out. I don't care if it turns out weird. It's just, it is what it is. So I'm not too precious about it. And if I do something that doesn't strike me and that I don't like, I just do something else over it. Like you can't, a lot of sins can be masked with glue. With some glue and a piece of scrapbook paper, you can basically start over again. So don't let the fear of starting, make you not try or the fear of messing it up, because you really can't. And if you hate it that much, then you can just go throw it in your garbage can when you're done and pretend like you never did it. But then at least you'll know that maybe journaling is not for you, or maybe it'll be for you a couple years down the line when you've like relaxed a little bit. So, let's see, what am I doing? Oh, that's when I noticed that the number is wrong. So peel up that washi, the beauty of washi. Stick down a new piece, and then I circle the 5 on the November, and then I end up seeing the 8 next to it, and then it sort of just it gives me a little idea that I want to circle that. And then I had found a 26 that I had torn off, and I put that down lower on the page on that little journaling card. And so, those were like his month and birth date and birth year. So I circled all those like important numbers, 8, 26, 10. So I don't know, just little things in there that are meaningful to me about Henry. So, I mean, can you zoom in on that face and see how freaking adorable he is? Oh my goodness. Now I am flipping the page, and these images are from, I think some of them are from a Real Simple, and then some of them are from a Breathe magazine. And I just loved them because it was like a bunch of people just looking really busy, doing a lot of different things. And that just struck me about this season of life that we're in right now. That's so cringy. I hate it when people say season of life. I really do. I apologize. But that's kind of what it reminded me of. So, I went back to this last spread, and I wanted to add a little tab. It's like a little ticket, like a little vintage looking ticket. But I folded the end over because I wanted both sides to have something on them, and the other side of the ticket was blank. So I just folded it over, glued it, and then stapled it to that page like a little tab. Okay, back to this. This spread was inspired because of my daughter, and the other night she informed me when she got home from school at I picked her up at like 3:30, and then we get home and it's like 3:50, and she's like, "Am I going to Lucas's birthday party tonight?" And I said, "What? I didn't know you wanted to go to that birthday party. She only usually wants to go to her girlfriend's birthday parties in her class." And oh, did she ever read me the riot act.
Of course I want to go. Lucas is my friend. Woo!
And then she lost her shit. So, I felt terrible because if it's a friend, because I'm a pushover. So we had to run to Walgreens and get a present, and then I had to get her ready for dance early so that I could take her to this party at a trampoline park thing at 5 o'clock. So in an hour, we got this all done and figured out, and I got her dropped off all the way across town. and then took my son back home with my husband so he could eat dinner with him. And then I had to drive back over across town to get her back from the birthday party and take her to dance because she had to leave the party early for dance. But she still wanted to be able to go to see Lucas and wish him a happy birthday. So it was just, it was one of those days, where you're like, holy hell. It's like, this is my circus and these are my monkeys. I can't blame it on anyone else. So, but I wouldn't really have it any other way, I guess. And then I pulled out my little basket of collage materials, and I'm just flipping through to see if there's anything else I like. I love those yellow stumpy legs. They're from a Breathe magazine. I cut them off a person. And then this other thing that I'm gluing in is a picture from a beer bottle ad, and it's like Galactic Warrior Pale Ale or something like that. And I love the image of the woman on it. And I just, like that day, I felt like a warrior. I was like mom warrior. It's like shit hit the fan, but we got it done. And, we got it taken care of. So, I mean, we all have, days where we feel like we've went to battle and somehow we won. But although we did end up leaving dance early on Thursday night because Adeline said that she had hurt her knee so badly at the trampoline park that she could no longer dance and she needed to go home and have a treat. Are you kidding me? So you win some, you lose some. But at any rate, for a brief moment, I was a galactic warrior in my own mind. This is a little thank you card from a friend of Addie's. It was from a birthday party a long time ago that was the same kind of deal. It was on a Thursday night that she has dance, so we were running back and forth, and but it just reminds me, seeing this card and this will remind me of this time in our life and that it was worth it, that they got to go to these things and, it was important for them to be there with their friends and, start making those memories. I remember my friends from first grade and from second grade, and a lot of them are still my best friends. So, it's important. So if it's important to them, I guess it's going to be important to me, even if it's a pain in the ass. That is a lesson in parenting right there. If it's important to them, it needs to be important to you. Even if it's a pain in the freaking rear end, it'll be worth it in the end. So I'm just figuring out how to tape that card on there. And I taped in things so wonky when I was doing this journaling session. I have no idea what I was thinking. That little jumping woman is from Breathe magazine, and I just loved it. I loved her, and it kind of went along with my galactic warrior. She just looks like she's like conquering and excited. So I had to put that in there. And then I think I write on her shirt too. I say like mom. And I usually hate those shirts that say like super mom or whatever, like I don't hate them. I wouldn't wear them, wouldn't wear one because I'm not a super mom generally, but sometimes you just gotta claim your own awesomeness. That card it says, I have a superpower, I just don't want you to show you. So maybe that's just me in my mind. I am a super mom. I just don't want to show you. So, I just try and be average. We're just gonna say that's it. Oh man, this voiceover. I only have one shot to do this because my kids have to go to bed soon, so I can't even stop and redo it. So we're stuck with this. Now I'm taping and bending. Like I said, I have no idea what I was doing here. But I do like this page. I think it's one of my favorite ones that I did, especially with the unicorn card and the little mom lady. And then that 19, I just like. That 19 was a scrap piece of paper. That's where I did my journaling on. And it was just the piece of paper that they laid in our trunk at the trunk or treat for my work. So that they could judge, they could vote for the best trunk. Like, obviously, our trunk was not the best trunk, but we got a number anyway. And our number was 19. And I held on to it for some reason, because if it's going to go in a journal, it's not hoarding. That should be a poster, and I should have it in my little craft nook. So I am reinforcing that card because, like I said, my taping decisions were interesting in this journal. And then I'm folding it up sort of randomly in half. There's a lot of fold-ups and tip-ins and stuff. I decided to cut the bottom part of that card off because there was nothing there, and you couldn't see the whole Stumpy Leg and Galactic Warrior thing, so I wanted to be able to see that, so I just cut off some of the white part of that card so you could see it underneath. And then I am just reinforcing that bottom with some more washi tape. When you do tip-ins, you really have to make sure that you use enough tape to get it to stay on the sides, because it can creep up, which I guess is common sense, right? And then I'm just kind of tacking down that bottom so that bottom doesn't come up either, because, like I said, weird taping decisions. But I do, like I said, like how this page turned out, and my journaling is just sort of haphazard like this. It's not like cute and vintage. It's not, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm using my Tim Holtz stencil again. Is that Tim Holtz, or am I just like talking out my bunghole? Yes, it's Tim Holtz, I think. Why can't I read? Well, use your brain, Emily. It's sitting right next to you. Yes, Tim Holtz Collection, stampersanonymous.com. So, that's that stencil, right? Am I looking at the right one? Yes. And then I'm just taking my watercolors and filling in over some of that writing, and I used my Pitt Artist pen on my journaling on that and stuff so that it wouldn't smear if I wanted to use watercolors, which helped greatly in the end. Now, I used, and I'm using my water brush, which I love for quick journaling, quick stuff in my journal. It's amazing because I don't have to get water out of this faucet and, blah, 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 blah. What was I saying? It was something important. Oh, shit, I don't know. So now I am going to journal about how I finished my scarf. And I know that you're sick to death of hearing about it. I told you about it in my Dollar Tree haul, but I had knitted this scarf, and I really love it. I think it's so cute. And it was like the easiest thing in the world to make. All it was knitting. There was no decreasing, increasing, no purling, no like fancy stitchery, nothing. It was just knitting over and over and over again. It was probably the most beginner project on the face of the earth. And my mom has a pom-pom maker and made the pom-poms for me from the same yarn, and everything's better with a pom-pom. That basically should be on a t-shirt too, so. But that Baby It's Cold Outside little scrapbook paper card was from the Freezin' Season Simple Stories kit that you've seen like a zillion and one times. And I just thought it went with my scarf, because I finished the scarf just in time for it to turn like horrible cold. Horrible cold here. It's like January type cold here, and I am not having it. I am pissed about it. But anyway, now I've got a cozy scarf, I guess. Oh, what I was going to tell you was that those watercolors are just like one of those $5 sets from Michael's, like the super cheap ones. They're not fancy. I would like to invest in a nicer set of watercolors, but these work okay. They're a little chalky when they dry, but it honestly doesn't bother me. That really bothers some people, but that is the piece of the label that was around the skein of yarn. And this yarn is Noro, and it's got Japanese on the label. It's made in Japan, and it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous. And so I wanted to keep that label because I thought it was so cool. But I was having a hard time figuring out how to put it in there. So I had one of these envelopes from a long time ago. I think I got it at Michael's in a pack on the little clearance wall or something. And I've used them in my journals off and on. They're always fun to slip stuff into or whatever. But I just put that pocket down there, and then I tucked that bottom piece of the yarn tag in there, and it kind of holds it, and I just like it. I think I thought it was pretty ingenious, if I do say so myself. And then I got out my Tim Holtz Distress inks. What are these called? Yep, Distress inks. And they're little tiny ones. And I was just stamping a snowflake in different kind of coordinating colors, like a yellow and a pink and a sort of greenish color. That wasn't what I had originally intended to do, but, I go crazy. And I liked them when I started stamping it, so there we go. I did have other stuff to journal about, too, after this, but it had already been like over an hour, and I thought that my phone was going to die and run out of battery. So I will have to do that in another video. But I'm going to hold up these distress inks so that you can see what the colors are. You can pause the video with my hand up in your face and see what the colors are. And then I use my Yay stamp, which it didn't turn out that well because it's kind of lumpy underneath. But then I used my white Jelly Roll pen, which is garbage and I hate, but it sort of made the little Yay a little bit whiter so that you could actually see that it said Yay. Because that's what I said to myself when I finished my scarf. Yay. And I added a little heart stamp. And that's about it. Now I'm going to give you a little flip through. And I had a nice time sitting down and journaling and getting these things in my book that were important to me to remember. And if this inspires you to go ahead and do something, to capture your memories or your thoughts or your feelings, go ahead and do it. That would be awesome. And tell me how it goes. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye, guys.